Welcome to Paradigm Shifts, new thinking about our changing times with your host, Harriette M. Steinberg, practicing matrimonial and family law, real estate, trust and estates, and elder law. You can watch episodes on YouTube and listen through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. For prior episodes, go to www.lawyersonli.com. Now here's the host of Paradigm Shifts, Harriette Steinberg.
Hi, welcome to Paradigm Shifts. I'm Harriette Steinberg, an attorney, mediator, and I'm also often called the divorce sherpa to some of my clients. Today I have a guest, very innovative and paradigm shifter guest by the name of Lesley Friedland. And Lesley is the executive director of a not-for-profit that has embraced the idea of paradigm shifts. The name of the organization is FamilyKind. And Lesley, welcome. Welcome.
Harriette, thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here with you. Not only a Sherpa, I guess a divorce Sherpa, but really experienced in so many different areas. And the fact that you had the vision to really focus on paradigm shifts is wonderful. So thank you for the invitation, Harriette.
So tell us, what is FamilyKind about? What is your organization about?
FamilyKind, as you mentioned, is a 501c3 not-for-profit. And we have basically two missions. One is to provide really high-quality services to people before, during, and after divorce, all on a sliding fee scale. We believe that people with money, without too much money, deserve to have support during the process and really good quality help and care. And our second mission is to really try to change the culture of how we see divorce and separation in our society. It is a transition, and families deserve to get help during that transition and have options. And mainly, they deserve to get information so they can really support their children as the family transitions.
You know, I love the idea of the mission to change the culture of divorce, because in many, many ways, the concept of divorce in and of itself fuels such hostility and angst. I mean, it is a change. There's no question about it. There are so many different ways that we can embrace change. And yet our society sees divorce in such a negative way that the process that is then followed or is used is really contaminated with that negativity, wouldn't you say?
You know, I think you're right on it, Harriette, and that's where we professionals in this realm need to do some work. Yeah, divorce is a transition. Yeah, it has a lot of feelings that go with it. It's the end of something.
Right. Or it could be the beginning of something else, right?
It's both. Exactly.
Right.
It's the end of something that wasn't quite working in a healthy way.
Right.
And now it's going to be the beginning of a different family. It's not a broken family. It's a different family. And you're right, society sort of, it's common, separation and divorce, but we do not give people the help they need. I heard, recently, divorce is 5% legal and 95% emotional. However, we treat it like a total sort of litigation, type of process.
Yeah. Well, you know something? 40 years ago, when I was in law school, I had that thought. I couldn't before I took a family law course, I couldn't really understand why the divorce process was totally regulated or, organized or disorganized in the courts. So, and I think it goes to what you're saying. We're in the wrong pew, so to speak. So
Yeah.
yeah. And it's wonderful that your organization can offer these resources. But tell me about you. Who are you? What's your background?
Right. So thanks. It actually leads right into what we're sharing together. I am a lawyer and I practiced in family court. I worked there for over 25 years.
Wow.
Court attorney and something called a court attorney referee, as you know, Harriette, that I would hear cases. During that time, I oversaw a parent education and mediation program in Kings County Family Court.
Mm.
And I really thought, wow, this is fantastic, because people need a lot more than the courts to help themselves and their children through a healthy transition. Then during the financial crisis of 2008 and 9, family court was hit hard, as you know, and many of the services they had were even cut out. I went back into the courtroom, and I guess you could say I lost my mojo, because I knew there really weren't going to be excellent things happening to the families in between adjournments, and they deserved to have some information support as they were going through this transition. So in 2012, along with some like-minded professionals, lawyers, mediators, educators, mental health professionals, we started FamilyKind, where we do not practice law or therapy, but do a number of services to support the process.
And what are the programs that you have been involved in or recently showing or doing?
Sure. So, and just to be clear, I left the court in 2012 and I started FamilyKind. So I was no longer a court employee, but we do, a number of supportive services, mediation, parenting coordination, coaching. At the heart of what we do is parent education. We run a New York State certified program for divorcing families. We do general parent ed also. And even though we're really focused on children, almost all of our programs are directed towards adults. Because adults, when they function well, their kids do well.
Right.
And but recently, we now have developed a program for children, a curriculum that can be used in the schools. And we're trying to roll it out so the children get the programming, and also the parents at the same time in a different venue, but to enhance that situation.
Oh, that's exciting. So it would be a joint program for parents and children that are in the divorce arena.
Yes, they wouldn't be in it together, because the children would be able to express themselves.
Yes.
Trained facilitators, and the parents too, but they would know what's happening and sort of work, alongside each other to move the family forward.
That is wonderful. And I do hope you're going to be announcing that, so some of us private attorneys can give that to our clients, Lesley, so collaborative practice, I know you're connected in ways with a lot of our practitioners, but it would seem that collaborative divorce practice, the process, really is a combination of everything you're saying.
Yes, that's a great point. We try to see ourselves as like a holistic type of center.
Exactly.
Because you're exactly right. It's a process that involves so many different kinds of professionals. And another program that's sort of new that combines a couple of our specialties is something we're offering is prenup or pre-cohabitation mediation. Instead of people going to, say, adversarial lawyers, well, why don't you start the process of coming together with a mediator and talking about issues that are going to be very important? And we have a couple of our financial specialists doing a class before even the mediation to help people get ready to share information.
I do prenup or, pre-divorce mediation for couples that, many times they're second marriages, but often even some of the younger couples now are they're being sent by parents who have lived the divorce nightmare. And so the young adults will call me and say, Mom wants us to have a prenup. I don't know what it's about, but I don't want to upset Mom. So can you help us? But, that's one of the ways the word is getting out. And it is in a way, it is a fantastic idea. But, Lesley, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And a young couple getting married who have, really hasn't had the life experience of being married. And so I think it's a special kind of sensibility that you have to bring to the table when you're dealing with first time marriages and prenups. But you're right, it is so much better than the old way, the adversarial way. I mean, I used to get a call. My wedding is in 2 weeks, and my husband, his lawyer, just sent me this agreement. Can you tell me what it's about? And oh my word, what would happen? So I do think you are definitely on the right track in that arena. And
well, thank you. I mean, the fact that you're on the pulse is great. And as you know, even when we do mediations or you do them, we do have attorneys look over them, just to make sure everything's, everyone feels comfortable. But it is, what a better thing for two people to really start talking, before their issues get very heavy.
Exactly. So as a person who's had a foot in both worlds, you're now educating our people, our community, which is so important. But you've been in the courts. Tell me, if we had magic wands, what would you like to see changed about the divorce process? Yes.
Well, Harriette, you and I, let's do a little dreaming now. And we try to do it in our individual practices. I think one thing that's hugely needed is mandatory parent education for divorcing parents. In many parts of this country, when someone files for divorce or separation, they say, okay, come back, 6-week adjournment, take this class, take a certified class in the meantime. And the class gives people so much information because, after all, we know when you're growing up, you think about a lot of things, maybe what job you might want, the type of partner you might want, where you might want to live. But no one is thinking about the best divorce ever.
Right.
So when it is coming upon you many times, you're a bit devastated. I mean, this is a big shift. It could be ultimately a good thing, but in the meantime, it's really rough. So people need to sort of understand, well, what is the process like? What are my children going through? How can I help them?
Yeah.
And these are excellent classes. We offer them, but in New York State, it's not mandated. So we are just, people happen into it. The judges might refer. And so many times, Harriette, during the class and after it, they say, why weren't we told about this beforehand?
Yes.
Or, our kids were in therapy and things, there was devastation. So I think it would be great if, like you said before, people don't know what they don't know. So if they're filing, let them come into a certified class, let them have that information, because that's empowering. It will help, first of all, not only themselves and their families, but the lawyers and the courts.
Exactly.
Right? Because when people are so immersed in this kind of devastation, it's hard. It's hard to even talk to them because they don't know which way is up. So if we all can sort of gather around the family and say, it's okay, let's take a breath and let's do this together.
Lesley, recently I have become very connected with trauma education, and I've been listening to some of the experts or professionals talk about trauma and how it impacts people and their lives and thinking. And of course, as I was listening to this, not only do we have this trauma in death, but I have absolutely identified it in my, divorce practice. That is, it explains so much of why clients really aren't able to absorb it all in the beginning. Having this kind of a resource, for couples who are just being introduced to the concept of divorce is a wonderful thing. So we have definitely we've got to spread the word. FamilyKind is kind.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
True.
And, whatever I can do in addition to having you as this wonderful guest and really talking about the programs and the ideas behind your thinking, really is exciting. And it's validating for me and colleagues who practice the way I do. Because we have seen the devastation of the older ways. And, I know everybody has a good intention. I'm not saying that people are, but if the shoe doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, it just, and we've got to shift. We've got to get people to shift and to do the paradigm shift. So you're a paradigm shift leader. Thank you, Lesley. Thank you.
Well, Harriette, it's a pleasure. And I'm so glad you could just be doing business as usual, but you're saying, no, I'm going to keep doing my good work, but I'm also going to be a thought leader and try to make things better. So really wonderful speaking with you.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye now.
All right.
Thank you for listening to Paradigm Shifts, new thinking about our changing times with your host, Harriette M. Steinberg, practicing matrimonial and family law, real estate, trust and estates, and elder law. You can watch episodes on YouTube and listen to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. For prior episodes, go to www.lawyersonli.com.